Today we're back with brand new WWE action figure news for you, man. Today we did have some brand new drops on the upcoming Mattel Creations exclusive Ultimate Edition CM Punk figure. This is going to be ECW CM Punk from back in the day here. We've seen this figure revealed a couple different times. There's just some different updates. You know how the process goes. It goes from a grayed out render or a colored up render of a figure and then proceeds to be the figure on display in some kind, whether that be fully painted or some sort of early prototype presentation of the figure. Then it does go into the proto shots or the promo images for the figure where we see it all laid out. We may see it mint in box, and then we ultimately get the figure in our hands a month or so after the promotional images are shared. Now, it doesn't always go like this, but that's usually how it goes. But today we have a photo gallery and a breakdown of the new Ultimate Edition CM Punk, and to be honest with you, I don't know how I'm feeling about it. We're going to discuss all those different things here today and just get into the images, break it all down, man. But I did want to tell you that this figure, there's a countdown over on Mattel Creations that is counting down to the time that this is going to be posted up for pre-order, and we're going to go through all the information here so you can see it and just break it all down for you and give you all my thoughts here. So this figure, a week from today, is going to be going up for pre-order on MattelCreations.com, and this is similar to Hasbro Pulse, right? This is their direct affiliate with Mattel to ship out exclusive figures and things like that. It's all done within house and things like that. So Mattel is putting up this exclusive CM Punk here, and it is a countdown for next week. Next Wednesday, June the 12th at 9 a.m. Pacific time, this figure is going to go for pre-order. Now, I'm interested to see how many people order this, and I don't know if it's going to be made to order or if they've already had a pre-selected amount ready to go. I don't know. I feel like we would know if it's made to order. I don't think it's made to order. I guess I could be wrong on that, but you know, this I'm guessing this is probably going to be a bunch made, and then when it sells out, it sells out. I don't think that this is going to be some sort of made to order deal, because if it was made to order, we probably would have found out about it a long time ago. Similar to the Cody Rhodes, right? With the Cody Rhodes made to order figure, which we're going to touch on in just a second. That figure was put up for, you know, it showed the render and then it was put up for pre-order, and it was like, you're going to get this in a year or whatever, and you had to wait for a long time. I imagine this is going to ship relatively soon after this pre-order, especially getting these images here. I'd imagine sometime in June or July, this figure should be shipping out and we should have it in hand. But getting back to the CM Punk figure, taking a look at the full deal here, we're getting the interchangeable heads, we have the Velcro-less t-shirt, you get the ECW Championship, you have the yellow gear here, which is kind of crazy. I remember this moment vividly for whatever reason, being in my living room watching Wrestling Alone when he debuted, and it's kind of just crazy to think about that we see this figure all these years later. And this was actually my favorite version of CM Punk, I think, throughout his entire career for whatever reason. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's nostalgia or something, but this was my favorite version of CM Punk. And, you know, shortly after there, winning the Money in the Bank and things like that, I really enjoyed. But I like the idea here. I think there's some weird things going on here that we're going to discuss, and I'm not looking directly at the new Ultimate, so we do know that this is just one of two CM Punk Ultimates that are coming soon. We also have the kind of modern version. We have this throwback version, and then we do have the modern version that is coming in Ultimate Edition Series 27. That's going to be in SummerSlam gear with the matchup with Drew McIntyre. He took him on in the black and pink, which is a very sweet looking figure. It actually looks pretty damn good. It looks pretty spot on. I'm pretty sure these figures do not share the same torso, at least off. I wanted to say that the upper torso on the other figure, and they're also different in some other ways, which we'll get into, but I wanted to say at the time, and I'm not looking directly at the figure right now, so I could be wrong about this, but I want to say that the upper torso on the Ultimate Edition Series 27 has the little cut right where the, you know, like right where your sternum would be. There's like a little triangle cut piece. Now, I could be wrong about that. I'm just remembering it off my memory of seeing the figure on display at WrestleMania 41 at WWE World, but this figure here does look different in formula for me, at least in the torso region. Now, I guess it could be the same. It's just, you know, when you get into these torsos that aren't very, I don't know, very specific, like this one and the first Money in the Bank Ultimate Punk and then the one that's coming soon, for some reason in my head, they seem like three different torsos, but they probably aren't. I know that one has more tattoos and stuff, but another thing that's different about them is the newest Ultimate Edition Series 27 CM Punk that we just discussed in the black and pink. That one is going to have the sculpted wrist tape. So I saw some comments saying, you know, what happened to the sculpted wrist tape? This is not the figure that was going to come with sculpted wrist tape. That was going to start on that newer, modern, updated CM Punk. This one still had the painted on wrist tape. Now, this figure does differ in the way that it has the, you know, the painted on tape instead of the sculpted tape, but his hands do have the sculpted tape. This is something we saw with the Great Muta out of Ultimate Edition Series 25. It's the same thing we saw with Solo Sikoa in Ultimate Edition Series 24, but I do believe the Ultimate Edition Series 27 CM Punk is going to be the first figure that we're getting the wrist and the hand sculpted. This Mattel Creations one here that we're discussing today only has the hand sculpted, so that it is a little differentiation there. And I've already heard the rummaging about it and things like that, people are going to do an arm swap to get the sculpted arms in there if that's something you so desire. But I feel like also the shoulders or the deltoids muscles here, like the upper shoulder where it connects into the butterfly joint, it looks like it's sticking out very far. Am I insane? It looks like the shoulders are way out there. Not in the way, kind of like Rhino, but not boulder shoulders. Not that they're overly sized. I guess they could be, but I'm not seeing oversized. They look like they're just sticking way too far out, like they're not in enough or something, and it looks kind of unnatural. It kind of gives him like this blocky, I don't know, almost like Lego looking build at the top of the shoulders there, and it creates this like long lanky arm look. Now besides that, I do like the formula. I think it's fine. I'm still out on the torso right now. I'm not saying out like, oh, I don't like it. It's more of like I'm on the fence. I don't really know how to feel about it just yet, and I think I'm waiting to get that in hand. But I do like kind of the smirky lip ring head sculpt. I like the smiling head sculpt. It reminds me a lot of the ECW ringside exclusive Elite, which we'll have a side-by-side there so you can see the differences in the two. And I really imagine that they're going to re-release that ECW ringside exclusive CM Punk in the From the Vault series at some point. I imagine that's got to be, if it's not already in the works, it's going to be in the works. I mean, I don't know how you don't do that. That's an absolute layup. That is a wide open shot at the basket right there to win the ball game. I don't know how you don't make that one. So, and this is pretty much that figure in ultimate form, just with a color, variation and the yellow trunks over the red. But I prefer the yellow over the red, but I still like the red. I think you got to remake that, especially if you give him that smiling head sculpt we're getting with this new ultimate. Makes the most sense. You could even throw in this shirt, and that's kind of how you get, similar versions to that figure while also including some accessories from this exclusive. So it's pretty cool. You get a championship. You get a couple pairs of interchangeable hands. No go-to-sleep hands or entrance hands or anything. You just get the mic holding, the fist, and then you get the ECW championship, the t-shirt, and then the 3 interchangeable head sculpts. And it's interesting because that yelling head sculpt this is something that Mattel's been doing with their figures here lately, especially the last year or two, is they're taking existing head sculpts and then they're just re-sculpting the hair to fit different eras. We've seen this with a few different figures. I'm trying to think off the top of the dome who they've done that with. I know they've done that. I'm just trying to think of who they've done that with the last year or so, but you guys know what I'm talking about. This is definitely an example of that with the screaming head sculpt, because you could tell by how just kind of, it's almost goofy-like, right? How he's yelling there, and they didn't give us the kissing head sculpt. Instead, they are giving us this smirking head sculpt that looks pretty good. I think these head sculpts do look pretty good, though. I'm not a huge fan of the eyes for whatever reason on the screaming head sculpt, but I do like, the rest of the head sculpts there. I like the Velcro-less tee. The photography looks really good. I'm really digging the photography here. CM Punk diving onto RVD for smoking weed. I can tell that right off the rip. And honestly, in the photography where it's coming off the top rope, I think the torso looks really good in that photo, and the shoulder doesn't look like it's sticking out as much. I don't know what it is, but then again, when you look at the photos of new figures coming out, I almost feel like the images of any Ultimate Edition specifically, but most Elite or just most action figures, when you do that plain white background, it's like the product shot and it shows all the accessories and it's just the standstill image. For whatever reason, a lot of action figures look really goofy in that specific shot, and then it's up to you when you get it in hand to kind of pose around. This is similar to, what we see from the Jacob Fatu, right? I look at the Jacob Fatu, I think to myself, oh, this doesn't look very good. Then you get it in hand, you're like, oh, damn, this is way different. This doesn't look like the images. So, all things are out until you have a figure in hand. I don't think you can fully judge a figure unless you have it in hand. However, I'm still hyped for this figure in a lot of ways. I think that, the torso is looking a bit weird, the shoulders look a little weird to me, but outside of that, I think this is going to be a pretty quality release. I'm looking forward to it, seeing how it's executed, and seeing if it does end up being something that lives up to the hype, or something that, delivers on all aspects. And it does look like this figure will be included in our top Ultimate Editions of 2025, or not our top ones. We don't know that until we get the figure, but we can say that it will be included in the countdown, because we should have this in hand within the next 3 or 4 months, I imagine. Jesus Christ, I hope it's way sooner than that, but it'll definitely be in our hands before the end of the year, and therefore it will be included in the ranking every Ultimate Edition video, which is one of my favorite videos to do all year long. And so we'll see where he ranks in there. So I'm excited that this figure will be included in that, and we'll get to see some more figures. And you guys know we're only, almost a little under 2 months away from San Diego Comic-Con, and we're going to get plenty of Ultimate reveals and different stuff going on there, so that'll be really fun as well. But I'm excited excited for this figure in a lot of ways. This is a Punk I've wanted for a while now, and I do have the original ECW Elite, but at the same time, I think this is going to be the best version of this style Punk. And then you do have a look at the packaging there, which is similar again to the Mattel Creations Cody Rhodes figure that we saw back in the day. You even have that skeleton rib cage on there with the ECW background. Got the kind of American traditional CM Punk down there in the tattoo font. And then one thing I also wanted to mention is I saw a few different comments talking about the price of this figure and how it's 45 bucks, and you know that was a little too expensive. And all I'll say to that is that it's the same price as the Cody Rhodes from a couple years ago, and so I think it's pretty on par with Ultimate Edition exclusives, especially like this. If you go to any Mattel Creations Ultimate Edition exclusive, I'm pretty sure it's always been 45 bucks, and so I'm excited. I want to say even Logan Paul was 45 bucks, so I can't remember off the top of the head, but I'm pretty sure Logan Paul was 45, the Cody Rhodes was 45, and I think that this CM Punk should be pretty solid. We'll see when we get it in hand, but I wanted to talk about these images, break down all the different ish we're getting here with the ECW Championship, the yellow trunks and all. But I think that about does it for my thoughts here today, man. Yesterday we covered our Penta coverage. If you guys missed that, we break down the new Penta figure that we are getting in basic form that probably should have been Elite, but we do have the update here today on CM Punk, man. But that's pretty much going to wrap up today's news video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know all of your thoughts here, man, on what you think of this CM Punk and all the things coming forward and the box set and everything here. Pretty interesting stuff as we break it all down. But a huge shout out to our Patreon members, man. Appreciate all of you fellas so very much. Thank you guys so very much for the continued support as always. But that is going to wrap up the news for me. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Have a blessed one, and I'll catch you guys later.